Howdy, it's Dr. Alejandro.
And I'm Dr. Emily.
And as many of you know, we have 4 clinics on our first 3 years in practice.
If you're ready to level up your business, find us at paththovictorychiro.com to get on the path to victory.
Negative parts of a business that no one talks about. That's what we're going to touch today here. There's a lot. So just hold up there, put your seatbelt, and let's go in this ride. Because you could be having your best month ever, but still there's going to be a lot of negativity on the side. And that is something that we've been dealing with. We've been riding this wave that we've never been here. We never felt how it is to have multiple clinics and like the clinics are doing well. So a lot of unexpected things are going to happen that we're not ready for it, and that's why when you bring me a problem, it's like, relax, you've never been here, let's try to figure out this together. And that is the example that one of my patients told me yesterday. He's a pilot for an Air Force plane, one of those jets, but he said, well, when I fly on the Delta plane, when I'm a pilot at Delta, we have an iPad. The pilot and the co-pilot each have an iPad. I'm like, what do you do with that iPad? And he's like, well, we could see the turbulence above, below, on the side, or ahead of us. I'm like, wait, you can actually see if there's going to be turbulence? Yes, that's why the pilot says, hey, flight attendant, sit down. We're going to hit some turbulence because you don't want to hit the turbulence while they're serving the snacks. So they could see a couple miles away, a couple minutes, I would say. So with this, sometimes you cannot avoid it, though. He was mentioning sometimes, like if you want to get from point A to point B, all the surroundings are going to be turbulence. You just have to go through it. Okay, so it's normal. But sometimes it's going to be cruise, like everything good. So this is basically running a business. It's like flying a plane, I would say, because you could be smooth, but all of a sudden you're going to hit that turbulence. The only thing is that some things we could see it ahead and other things we cannot see it ahead. Mm-hmm. We could have the iPad, but other times we're not going to have the iPad, having a bad review because you did something wrong. You could see it ahead that you're going to have a bad review. But having a bad review because the other person was having a bad day, you're not going to see it ahead. So that's unexpected turbulence there. Mm. And that's what happened to us. We were in Boston this past weekend, and I don't know why I have the emails on my phone. And I look at the phone, and we had a 1-star review. It's the first one ever. And I look at it, and I'm like, this is not going to bother me. Like, I'm in Boston. How is this going to bother me? So we kept going. But then this week, I've been paying a lot of attention to it. And I'm like, why do we have a bad review? And we basically approached the person, and he's like, oh, well, your prices. I'm like, dude, you're leaving us a bad review because of the prices? Like, come on, dude. Like, you saw the fee sheet before. Like, why are you like complaining about that? But, people are people. But that is one of the examples of negativity. You're going to deal with bad reviews. You're going to deal with cranky people. You're in an industry that people come to you because they're suffering. They have pain. If you're suffering, just think about it. You're suffering from a pain. You're not going to be a nice person with your family. So just think about it. If you're a stranger, you have someone coming into your clinic, they're going to be cranky. They're in a lot of pain. They're not going to be a good human. So that's something we need to train the staff as well on, like, how to deal with those things. You cannot expect someone that is having sciatic pain to come with a big smile, or a migraine with a big smile. Yeah. They're suffering. They're going to come cranky. So it's how can we deal with those things?
Yes. Not to mention, not that we really care, but this guy was doped up. He was taking like 4 hydrocodones a day. And then you said in his consult, he was like repeating himself. So potentially out of his mind. And to leave a bad review is actually a win in our case. And you read this book about the Savannah bananas. Mm-hmm. And the author said, if you don't get a bad review, you're not even like doing it right. Because people are going to find like the little things to criticize if you're doing really, really well. And I think we've just hit this new level. Again, we've never been here before. And so learning to navigate the negatives of business is a learning curve for us as well. And so we're just trying to go through all of it. But to that point, like, we also, in this past month, we've had that bad review, our first one ever. We had a former employee file for unemployment. We had a refund that was pretty significant of a patient who paid in full and they wanted a refund. And it was just a kind of a more difficult, complex scenario. But all of these things that happen to us as negatives, like, seem not great. Like, initially, it's almost like an initial shock. And then as you kind of process through the shock and you kind of uncover more layers like an onion, you kind of have to ask yourself some questions like, why am I feeling so anxious or so angry or frustrated about this? And usually it's deeper rooted than just like a guy left a bad review on our Google page. Like, who cares, right? There's 500 other great reviews, right? But I think when we kind of peel back the layers, we get to know more about ourselves. And that is like super, super rewarding in our case, because for our business, like we've talked about, it's consistency. It's like, keep doing what we're doing. The thing that levels us to the next place, to the next phase, to the next stage is not like more tactics or more strategy. It's like who we are as people. And we have to level up ourselves in order to get to the next level of business. Like we talked about.
We go back to the subject prior, is consistency as well. If you keep having consistencies, when you're going to hit those points that are going to bring negative as well. With that aspect, it's like we have a positive that we're moving to a bigger building, but moving to a bigger building is going to bring a lot of negative things. Like how do we move the x-ray unit? That's going to take a couple of days. So we're going to be in this location without x-rays, how do we move everything? It's going to bring a cost that is going to be negative as well.
Yeah.
We're experiencing now in Waco on the clinic that is supposed to open in 4 weeks, but now we need an electrician to go work with a plug that is going to be like 20 grand to like be able to put the x-ray unit, and that's going to delay us a couple more weeks to open, So it's basically a lot of negative things, but you can convert them positive as well. It's depending how you look at it, So I could get super mad and super upset about that, or I could tell the guy, okay, move forward, let me know, as soon as you can finish. That way we could like set everything up. So everything comes to perspective, I would say.
We had a call just today with one of the docs at one of our locations, and he was more or less bringing negativity to the call. He was confused about one of our marketing ads that we run. And he says, I'm here in this location, but we're getting calls from like hundreds of miles away from people in another location. And he's like, what's up with that? We just have to tell them like, oh, sorry, we're not even in that area. And we're like, what are you talking about? You are literally getting calls from around the state for your business. And even if they can't geographically come to you, they can come to any of our other offices. And the fact that they're even hearing about you that's literally free market. That's amazing. And so he had this like negative look at it as like, why are people calling from like hundreds of miles away? And we're like, dude, at least people are calling your office. Like, that's awesome, right? And so we have to flip all the negatives into a positive. And how can we change our perspective on that? And that literally will get you through business. So one thing I'm super, super grateful for is our partnership with our mentor, Dr. Whalen, and how this whole inception of Victoryspinalcare started out. Because with every negative that we've encountered, whether it's a bad review or a refund or building issues or something with the tenants or the landlord, we have had a mentor and a guide to help us. And not every startup business gets that. And how grateful are we to have our Mark Cuban, who can help guide us through all the things that he's already been through. And so that is one of the major positives about partnering with Victory, is you have a whole blueprint, a whole mentorship, a whole guidance to help guide you when you're opening up your first chiropractic office, because there are so many unknowns and negatives that will come your way.
Yeah. Like today we were able to have a 40-minute call because he said like, hey guys, let's hop on a call because like you guys are entering a different stage that you've never been there. Thankfully, I was there already. So let's talk about it, because for me it was rough, he mentioned. And not to mention, when we were reported to the board before opening the clinic, that delayed us 60 days to open our clinic because a chiropractor just reported us to delay our process. He was there on that corner, and that helped us a lot, So that's a good thing of having a good community, because chiropractor to chiropractor, like people see each other in seminars and they think they're going to be supportive. At the end of the day, like they have their own business. They don't have skin on the game. They don't care how you're doing, but having skin on the game is going to be, they're invested into you. So there's no perfect business. Every business is going to have negative. You could be having the best month on the world. There's still going to be a lot of negative, because I remember when we had our best month, there was a lot of gossiping between staff, a lot of conflict between the staff. So, that's a lot of negativity around the office that we need to deal with that. I'm sorry.
Yep. And so if you want to know more about our partnership, about what we do at Victory, check us out at paththovictorychiro.com. We love helping other chiropractors who can ultimately help out their communities. And check us out on our Facebook group, Path to Victory. We like to share our wins, our challenges, our mistakes, our failures, and everything in between. Would love to connect with you guys. God bless.